Moment of the sexual experience will ask the young lady, who's your daddy?
This should be remixed. If Officer Akimov is watching, this could be the next remix masterpiece. Because just wait till you see what happens here. Oh, Officer Akimov is here. That's beautiful.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy?
I'm joined today by Pastor James David Manning.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
No, I'm a Christian.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy?
I'm joined today by Pastor James David Manning.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
A long-legged Mac Daddy is the most successful pimp on planet Earth. To reverence the Word of God, to trust it, to preach it, to teach it, loads and loads of money and tons of lives. Loads and loads of money and tons of lives.
What happened in prison that brought you to Jesus? What happened in prison that brought you to Jesus?
George Bush Sr. and George Bush Jr. have been penetrated by at least 100 men in their anus area. 100,000, 200,000 strong. I didn't do it. That's not my problem. So I got down on my knees. I didn't do it, but I was tempted.
Sounds like quite an evening.
Loads and loads of money and tons of lives. Loads and loads of money and tons of lives. Loads and loads of money and tons of lives. Loads and loads of money and tons of lives. Let me say something to you about marketing. Starbucks has done the exact same thing that Coca-Cola has done, except they've done it with semen.
That certainly seems to be a story that has been missed.
Gays tend to love each other's semen.
How do you know that it flavors the coffee?
Gays tend to love each other's semen. Gays tend to love each other's semen.
How do you know that it flavors the coffee?
Gays tend to love each other's semen.
Uh-oh. Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes.
Uh-oh. I love mangoes too.
99 cents. Okay. Now that we are up under Biden's regime, my bag of mangoes now costs $11.99.
That seems like a pretty good deal. A bag of mangoes? Aren't mangoes like $3 each? That's it. I want what, $8 or $11? That sounds good.
The American people will lie. And highway robbery is what you're doing. Bring my mangoes back down. My bag of mangoes. My bag of mangoes.
Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes. Bring my mangoes back down. Raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Bring my mangoes back down.
The Wisconsin crowd identified with the mango eater.
Disproportionately affected the American people. Those who want me to be healthy.
Be
Those who
civil
want me to
megaphone
be
guy trespases
And highway
in the
robbery is
Capitol.
what you're doing. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit.
Mangoes? Wow, and there it is. It is 1 year since the January 6th Trump riots. We are monitoring so many different things and have so many things to go over. Donald Trump has been so heavily triggered by Joe Biden's speech this morning, directly putting significant blame for what happened 1 year ago today on the former president, and we have so many different things to go over. First and foremost, we are standing by right now. The Trumpists are doing a freedom rally. Understand this, in support, okay? I hope you're sitting down. In support of the rioters. They now care about conditions in jail. The Republicans, I'm saying, they now care about that. And we are standing by for some kind of rally in support of the rioters and of Trump. And it's going to be completely whacked off the wall. So that's number one. Number two, we are monitoring what's happening in Washington, D.C. A heavier police presence expected, both at the Capitol and at the White House and really everywhere. So far, it has not been riotous, and that's a really good thing. So we are monitoring that. We are going to look at Donald Trump's various statements. He's just been tweeting statement after statement today. We are going to be looking at the Joe Biden speech. As I mentioned, we have a variety of different clips of it. We are going to be looking at the moment 1 year ago where we all were here. I have not been able to pinpoint the exact moment where the riot started, but we are going to sort of revisit the slow realization about what was going on. That was a year ago today. Many of you were here for that. We will look at the counter statement. Congress people Matthew Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene held a press conference rebutting Joe Biden's speech today. We're going to be looking at that. We have, statements from Liz Harrington. Yep. Mitch McConnell put out a statement as well and did not even mention Donald Trump in talking. How do you talk about the riots and not mention Trump, which is just crazy? And as I mentioned, we have the Joe Biden clip. So a lot of insanity going on. Look at this. They are rallying here in support of the rioters. Let's take just a brief listen to this.
Palm Beach, Florida, where American patriots from all across the state and maybe all across the country have gathered in support of President Trump, as well as the political prisoners being held in D.C. Gitmo.
Very sick.
As it relates to January 6th, we all know what's going on in the country right now as far as the media and Democrats. And
all right, so we're going to keep an eye on that and see sort of what happens there. We do have super chats working on the screen today. None have been sent yet, but if you look at the bottom of the screen here where currently YouTube chat is going by, there's Mike McGee. There's a super chat from Mike McGee. Let me just tweak this to get it on screen. There it is, folks. There it is. And we have beautiful, beautiful super chats. So they will display, as far as I know. Whoa, hold on a second. Something crazy just happened. There it is. There it is. There it is. So we're still working on a more permanent solution for super chats, but they will display. Thanks to Mike McGee for the $4.99 super chat. Okay, but wait, hold on. They're interviewing a guy. Let's see what he's saying.
If it weren't for Right Side Broadcasting. A few minutes ago, you asked me when I got that little birdie in my ear. Well, I just got it. So my suggestion is you guys make your way over to the French barricades because you're going to be surprised.
Do you have a place in mind you think we should go near the barricade? Right over here?
Anywhere along the barricades is good.
All right.
Anywhere along the barricades.
Okay,
All
we're
right?
going to make our way
You
over.
heard it here first on Right
Perfect.
Side Broadcasting.
Thank you, Vin.
Okay, so this is a very sick cult. These people are all out of their minds. It's an illness, extreme, significant illness. So we're going to be monitoring that. Hot Mustard Gas says, I was watching your stream when this happened. Many of us were here a year ago. Indeed, 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 indeed. Very much appreciate that. Okay, let me just get a couple thank yous out of the way. I do want to say thanks to Rebecca Veith, who just signed up at joinpacman.com and is new member number 1. I want to remind you guys of two things. Number 1, the coupon code Obama. Oh, wait a second. Where did that go? There it is. Number 1. Coupon code Obama is working, but we have a special code today, and that code is Please No Riot. You might remember that a year ago, we had that coupon code, Please No Riot. We didn't want a riot. And that code is still working. Also, I want to thank every single one of you who has signed up and supported us via Twitch. And that includes Micro, Tampst, The Old Tired Road, Cosmos, Mad Max, Kiyoshike, Bic Marcus, Pink and Blonde, Nanner Mom Roy, that's 10, and TR Napsta is 11. 11 plus 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, nothing to carry. That puts us at 12. And we will open phone lines if we were to get to 100. Very, very much appreciate that. I'm Mikey, says via Super Chat, Mr. Pacman, sir, would you say that your coupon code is a form of mass formation psychosis aimed at making people take advantage of incredible deals? I would say so.
I don't even know what I'm doing, sir.
Yeah, I would say that for sure. Very, very good point. Derek says via Super Chat, David, sir, did you see the Newsweek article about special forces with shoot-to-kill orders on the Capitol on 1/6? I did not. That is not an element of news that I have seen so far, but I am very, very open to seeing it. Big thanks to Erica Scungio for signing up on my website with the coupon code OBAMNA. Erica's new member number 13 today. Also thanks to Browncoat Loki, Carly Knight, the Riot Goat as well, numbers 14, 15, and 16. Now, I do have to make a disclaimer as super chats are pouring in. Do you guys hear that? That's tree work being done. It's been going on outside of our studio for 3 days. I am looking to shut it down. But of course, it's completely legal. So really, I'm just a curmudgeon for complaining. I'm glad if you guys don't hear it. I did see it show up on my level meter, but it's completely toxic. Leaf blowers and tree work elements are some of the most vile noises. So we're going to work around it. Amit says, David, sir, I appreciate you quoting all of Trump's superlatives, strongly powerful, but I believe you're not giving credit to former VP Pence and his tendency of saying that everything is broad-shouldered. Yeah. Pence likes to say that it's a broad-shouldered initiative. I like that. Wendy says, you guys have to be hearing that, right? Okay, anyway, fine. Hey, better. Wendy says, I was here a year ago, was shocked by what I saw. Thanks for doing this. Pedro says, interesting segment on COVID testing denialism the other day. By the way, Kerry Mullis can't weigh in since he died in 2019. He was also an AIDS denialist. Yeah. This interview makes me want to bash my head against the wall. As a Canadian, for the first time ever, I see articles in our papers how Canada should deal with a U.S. dictatorship. I covered that earlier this week. What was your opinion on Merrick Garland's speech yesterday? I think that the words were very strong, and I wonder whether there will be any action behind it. All right, let's listen just another second here.
No, I'm sure 100% that. With Samaga come here, we old people, we young people, we women, we come here for Trump. And we for America, we very nice. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, it's the memory on Earth, like last year on, January 6th.
Okay, very, very sick. Very, very sick. Okay, let's go to the moment. Let's relive the moment. This is sort of starting where things are starting to go crazy. I don't think my hairline's changed in the last year. That's a good sign. This was 1 year ago today. Remember this, guys. Federal elected Republicans who are openly trying to execute a coup for the president in an election that they lost. And at the same time, the supporters of that president who lost are physically trying to break in to the U.S. Capitol building. They are actually up the steps and at a door, and it is conceivable that they will be able to break their way in. This is a... Guys, I almost think my hairline's better this year than last year. I hate to say it, but global embarrassment. This sets absolutely insane precedent for the future of the United States. And there is no possible way to overstate how crazy this is. So anybody, what, I don't know what you want me to do. If you want me to start, punching my microphone or bashing my head into this is a tragedy of unspeakable proportions happening to American democracy, and it's happening during a 100-year pandemic. And there's people everywhere with no masks. This is what I mean. Listen, is it crazy to say failed state, or a would-be failed state? Like, in other words, Biden will eventually be president. If the National Guard has to come out, they will. Remember, this was at 1 p.m. Little did we know that there would be a point made to prevent the National Guard from coming out, which they could have. I was talking about the National Guard at 1 p.m. here. But if they got their way, it would be a failed state. Like,
Right.
if these guys got their way and then these guys got their way, it would be a failed state. There's no question about that. But hopefully we will be able to resist that. But I would be very careful if I was in Washington, D.C. right now. I don't know if any of these people have jobs. That's a fair question. That's an absolutely fair question.
Many of them lost their jobs in the aftermath. I mean, that's another aspect of this.
If they do, I guess they can afford to take the day off. But they are pushing and pushing and trying to breach that door. And as you can see, the scrum continues to advance.
Remember, now we have the benefit of hindsight of all that happened. At this point, we were like, oh, they're gathering. Oh, they're pushing up. Oh, they're trying to get in. Little did we know what was ultimately going to happen on that day.
Towards the door. I do want to say thank you to everybody who's watching. Very special shout out to everybody watching on Twitch. We've committed to Twitch for 2021 and we're here.
And I held that commitment.
And I really appreciate
a lot of good points being made, by the way, in this stream.
Everybody who's been signing up. And there's an additional 16 folks who just grabbed Twitch subs.
So let's skip ahead, 20 minutes and see how much crazier it got by then. This is 16 minutes later.
They have been streaming into the U.S. Capitol. Media reports are that they don't know where police are, sometimes describing one-off.
Guys, look at this with the benefit of hindsight. We were saying, where are the police? Well, there was a reason the police weren't there.
Sir, sometimes describing
or overwhelmed. There were police there, of course.
Handcuffs left on the ground. Unclear the significance of that. And this is partially a group of people, these protesters, who came over from a Trump event hours ago. Apparently, many of them...
Clarity about who these people were. I mean, it's actually crazy to think back about how much we didn't really know, but our suspicions were all completely correct.
Needing to use the bathroom now because they've been at the Trump rally and then now they are here. But this is rapidly becoming a situation completely out of control. And I don't know from the standpoint of law enforcement what is being waited for. I don't know if at some point we are going to see military show up here. And I understand the point of Trump isn't going to deploy the military against his own supporters. It is not just up to Trump to activate either National Guard or federal military.
So we hoped.
Assets. That is not the only way that it can happen. And there is the hypothesis being made by some of the people in my audience that this is all a pretext on which to announce martial law. Questions as to whether a curfew will be announced in Washington, D.C. to put some end to this at some point in time. I have never experienced anything like this. The entire process of counting the ballots, typically meant to be perfunctory, has been
shut. Look at this. This is when they started getting in.
Down. All of these folks you see here have physically breached the U.S. Capitol. Let's listen.
We have learned now that as you can see, the protesters have breached the Capitol. They're inside. They're crossing over Statuary Hall, which separates the chamber that separates the House and the Senate. As you can see, they've made their way over into the House side, some of them on the House side, some on the Senate side, right outside these chambers.
Don't tell me they're getting into the chamber.
Oh, yeah.
Who has covered Capitol Hill for
they were, David. They were.
Many years, is joining us on.
In a year, we'll do a stream covering this stream, covering that stream, and then we'll do it once a year.
On the phone. Niels, do we know how it is that they were able to get inside the Capitol?
That was a great question.
Well, from my vantage point away from the Hill, I don't know exactly which door or doors they were able to breach, but there were clearly protesters and violent protesters who appear to have breached at least one of the doorways, if not multiple, of the Capitol building itself. And so there has been there were efforts at locking down the building, but quite frankly.
All right. And then let's just, we're not going to do this all day, but let's skip ahead a little bit here and look at this is just thinking back to how crazy it was.
And now so this is continued to be a developing situation. And at this point, I think that the immediate concern is with the use of weapons and sort of this being beyond a peaceful protest. We left that point a long
By the 90-minute mark, we were thinking this may not be a peaceful protest.
time ago.
Oh, my
and
God.
So we're just continuing to see.
All right, let's get back to
At least for the
PBS.
moment, and we're hearing some sort of alarm go off. Lisa, if you're there, we'll stay with you. We do want you to stay safe.
Oh, my God.
Lisa, can you tell whether they've been able to get close to? Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, Capitol Police are now on this floor. They are now working to secure this floor. They are asking protesters to go on the ground.
We're gonna.
I have my press identification, and
Oh, my God.
the police now behind me.
All right. We're hearing shouts in the background. Lisa, we want you to stay safe. We're going to come away for just a moment until we can understand a little more about what's going on. Trying to understand whether they've been able to get into the House and Senate chambers. And, of course, knowing whether the Go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead, Lisa.
The police have told me to stay down, and that's what I'm doing.
Oh, my God.
And I also don't want to show video. This area of the Capitol is an area that is usually prohibited from showing video. That's why I've been selected and shooting video. Not that the Capitol is operating under any sort of rules at the moment. I want to try and be respectful while reporting this extraordinary moment in American history. The police have gained control for the moment of this corridor of the Capitol. I no longer hear protesters chanting beneath me in Statuary Hall, where they have been, but I do hear shouting as police seem to one by one be taking down.
All right. So that was a year ago today, guys. That was a year ago today, and quite a situation. And after all that, this is what Trump supporters are doing today. They are rallying in West Palm, Florida, or Palm Beach, Florida, or West Palm Beach, Florida, or, whatever the Central Palm, all these different things. They are rallying in support of the rioters, who they are referring to as political prisoners. That's what's going on right now as a result of that. It is absolutely insane. Super chats coming in. No jail for Orange, you said. Any consequences? I don't expect any real consequences for Trump, no. Your coverage of this last year was how I found your channel, sir. Now I'm back in the very same room, still watching 1 year later. Full circle. Great to have you here. I appreciate that you are here. Let me say thank you before we continue onto the Gates Green stuff, and then the Biden stuff, and then the Trump statements. There's so much to cover today. I want to say thanks to people who have been signing up on my website. It's really the best way to support the work we do. I want to say thanks to Jason Steele, who signed up with the coupon code OBAMNA. Dylan Richardson signed up with the coupon code OBAMNA. Stein Christensen signed up with the coupon code OBAMNA. And Matthew Patlin signed up with the coupon code Please No Riot. That's 4, putting us at 20 for the day. Also want to make sure I'm keeping up with everybody supporting on Twitch, and that includes, let me make sure I get everybody's names right. Browncoat Loki, Carly Knight, The Riant Goat, Drewish, Browncoat Loki with a gift, This is Fadi K, Skittle Stew, Savvy Lemons, Hey, it's Damien. That's 9. 9 plus 20, 9 and 0 is 9. And 2 is 2, puts us at 29. Aaron says, in the right-wing propaganda film Capital Punishment, they said the Capitol was breached at 12:45 during the Trump speech, implying it was not MAGA. Listen, I don't have the exact timeline in front of me right now, but it was MAGA. It was MAGA. I think that's all very, very clear to us at this point. The cognitive dissonance between it was Antifa and Happy Insurrection Day coming from the same people is astounding. Yeah, also astounding is it was completely peaceful and it was Antifa. Well, then what are we worried about? It was peaceful Antifa. That those seem to be sort of in conflict. All right, let's go to clips now of Joe Biden. This was Joe Biden. This was Biden's best speech ever. You could say, well, but David, sir, it's a low bar. And you're not necessarily wrong.
Sure.
But it was Biden's best speech And let's look at a couple of clips of it. This is from today.
What did we not see? We didn't see a former president who had just rallied the mob to attack, sitting in the private dining room off the Oval Office in the White House, watching it all on television and doing nothing for hours as police were assaulted, lives at risk, the nation's capital under siege.
Yeah.
This wasn't a group of tourists. This was an armed insurrection. They weren't looking to...
Welcome to everybody from Aristocracy TV with the raid on Twitch. Welcome, everybody.
Uphold the will of the people. They were looking to deny the will of the people.
Right.
They were looking to uphold... They weren't looking to uphold a free and fair election. They were looking to overturn one. They were looking to save the cause of America. They were looking to subvert the Constitution. This isn't about being bogged down in the past. This is about making sure the past isn't buried. That's the only way forward.
Right.
That's what great nations do. They don't bury the truth. They face up to it. Sounds like hyperbole, but that's the truth. They face up to it. We are a great nation. Not a joke. My fellow Americans, in life there's truth, and tragically there are lies. Lies conceived and spread for profit and power. We must be absolutely clear about what is true and what is a lie. And here's the truth. The former President of the United States of America has created and spread a web of lies about the 2020 election. He's done so because he values power over principle, because he sees his own interest as more important than his country's interest, than America's interest, and because his bruised ego matters more to him than our democracy or our Constitution. He can't accept he lost.
Very, very good speech by Joe Biden. Maybe I love the energy. Maybe the time of day. I mean, this was a morning speech. Maybe that's better. I don't know, but it was excellent. Thanks to Naudius Maximus as well as Bowflex Man for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. Appreciate that. Super chats are coming in. Did I see the video that the Lincoln Project made out of Biden's speech today? I haven't seen that yet. The strangest tour I've ever seen. These must be the same curious minds suddenly concerned with preserving history in the form of Confederate statues. And Patrick says, enough about your hair. I think we haven't talked about my hair in half an hour. Let's continue with Joe Biden's speech here. Very, very good speech today.
And so at this moment, we must decide, what kind of nation are we going to be? Are we going to be a nation that accepts political violence as a norm?
Right.
Are we going to be a nation where we allow partisan election officials to overturn the legally expressed will of the people?
Almost.
Are we going to be a nation that lives not by the light of the truth, but in the shadow of lies? We cannot allow ourselves to be that kind of nation. The way forward is to recognize the truth and to live by it. The big lie being told by the former president and many Republicans who fear his wrath is that the insurrection in this country actually took place on Election Day, November 3rd, 2020. Think about that. Is that what you thought?
No.
Is that what you thought when you voted that day?
With all due respect,
Taking
that's a
part
bunch of
in an
malarkey.
insurrection? Is that what you thought you were doing? Or did you think you were carrying out your highest duty as a citizen and voting? Former president's supporters are trying to rewrite history. They want you to see Election Day as the day of insurrection. And the riot that took place here on January 6th as a true expression of the will of the people. Can you think of a more twisted way to look at this country, to look at America?
It's pretty sick. Pretty sick. Let's continue.
Taken long after the election in several states. None changed the results. And in some of them, the irony is the margin of victory actually grew slightly.
That's true.
So let's speak plainly about what happened in 2020. Even before the first ballot was cast, the former president was preemptively sowing doubt about the election results. He built his lie over months. Wasn't based on any facts. He was just looking for an excuse, a pretext to cover for the truth. He's not just a former president. He's a defeated former president.
Here is a really, really good point made in this next clip by Joe Biden, where he talks about, you know how I've been talking for a while about these right-wingers, they have their principles, which they say, these are our principles. But then they abandon the principles as soon as they're inconvenient. Let businesses do what's best for them. Don't regulate them. Well, but if they want to require vaccination, then don't let them do that. And if Twitter wants to ban Marjorie Taylor Greene, then don't let them do. But I thought your principle was, well, no, it's different now. And Joe Biden applies it bigger picture here.
You can't love your country only when you win. You can't obey the law only when it's convenient.
Right.
You can't be patriotic when you embrace and enable lies. Those who stormed this Capitol, and those who instigated and incited, and those who called on them to do so, held a dagger at the throat of America.
So if you're joining and you're wondering what the background noise is, it was a chainsaw from 3 days of toxic tree work going on half a block away. I can tell just from the noise, I can identify all these elements. Now they're using the to make mulch out of the tree that they've just taken down. So I apologize for those who are who's are wearing headphones or whatever and can hear that. I see that my microphone is picking it up, but it is slight.
America and American democracy. They didn't come here out of patriotism or principle. They came here in rage, not in service of America, but rather in service of one man. Those who incited the mob, the real plotters who were desperate to deny the certification of this election, defy the will of the voters. But their plot was foiled. Congressmen, Democrats, and Republicans stayed.
Fortunately. All right. And then here is the last clip. Joe Biden winding down the speech. His best speech, without a doubt, his best speech as president. Oh, thanks to Bionic Bill for the Twitch Prime subscription. You're number 32 today. Thanks, Bill.
The destruction, as the Vice President referenced in Pearl Harbor, came to triumph over the forces of fascism. From the brutality of Bloody Sunday on the Edmund Pettus Bridge came historic voting rights legislation. So now let's step up, write the next chapter in American history, where January 6th marks not the end of democracy, but the beginning of a renaissance of liberty and fair play. I did not seek this fight brought to this Capitol 1 year ago today, but I will not shrink from it either. I will stand in this breach. I will defend this nation. And I will allow no one to place a dagger at the throat of democracy. We will make sure the will of the people is heard, that the ballot prevails, not violence, that authority in this nation will always be peacefully transferred. I believe the power of the presidency and the purpose is to unite this nation, not divide it, to lift us up, not tear us apart. To be about us, not about me. Deep in the heart of America burns a flame lit almost 250 years ago of liberty, freedom, and equality. This is not a land of kings or dictators.
All right, so I think you guys get it. Just a few more seconds there and Biden wraps up. I mean, he really said everything. The only thing he could have added would have been the following.
Get vaccinated.
That would have made it an absolutely perfect speech. All right, people asking about the wood chipper. There's wood chipping going on right outside the studio. It's been going on for 3 days. It's legit. It should be against the law. It should be against the law what's going on out there. Don't they realize we're producing a show here? Okay. Super chats. Yes, super chats are coming up on the screen. Longtime listener, says John, now a subscriber due to Biden's administration and student loan forbearance. We are watching with you during the riot and are here with you to put it all to bed. Thank you, John. Hopper says Newsweek article, secret commandos with shoot to kill authority were at the Capitol. Yeah, let's look at the article because a lot of people are asking me to look at that, and then we'll move on to the Trump response, and then we'll get the Taylor Greene response, and there's so many things. Okay, exclusive. Shoot to kill authority secret commandos were at the Capitol. This is from a couple days ago. On January 3rd, the heads of a half dozen elite government special ops teams met in Quantico, Virginia, to go over potential threats, contingencies, and plans for the upcoming joint session of Congress. The meeting and subsequent deployment of these shadowy commandos on January 6th has never before been revealed. Now, do they mean this year or last year? Let's see if it says. Right after the new year, Jeffrey Rosen, acting AG, improved implementation of long-standing contingency plans dealing with the most extreme possibilities. Oh, last year. An attack on Trump or Pence. A terrorist attack involving a weapon of mass destruction, and a declaration of measures to implement continuity of government requiring protection and movement of presidential successors. Rosen made a unilateral decision to take preparatory steps to deploy Justice Department and so-called national forces. There was no formal request from Capitol Police, Secret Service, or Metropolitan Police. No external request from any agency. The leaders in Justice and the FBI anticipated the worst and decided to act independently, the special ops forces lurking behind the scenes. The contingency units meeting on January 3rd, including FBI's HRT, FBI's National Render Safe Team, FBI SWAT, and other organizations. All of these assets were pre-deployed and ready to go the weekend of January 2 to 3, staging out of the FBI Academy in Quantico. If a WMD or terrorist attack occurred, the units were to move via helicopter to the site of the incident. The activation of the catastrophic response units operating under plans already approved by Trump entailed an automatic green light allowing federal responders to take the initiative and spare no resources, including shoot to kill authority, to deal with this most extraordinary condition. This is quite an article. This is news to me. So I'm going to read more about it and then maybe do a segment on it if it comes to it. So we've seen Joe Biden's speech earlier today, and we're going to now go to Donald Trump's reactions. Meanwhile, Trumpists are rallying today in support of the rioters. Let's listen a little bit.
And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a podcaster. That wasn't my calling. That wasn't my purpose. But I've traveled state to state, seeking truth, speaking truth. And my grandfathers were both war heroes. So
all right. I'm not interested in what this guy is saying. Let me say a few other thank yous. Big thank you to Mark Bowling, who just signed up on my website with the coupon code Obama. John Gladden just signed up on my website with the coupon code Please No Riot. Lori Hradek just signed up with the coupon code WOW22. And Donald Hewitt just signed up with the coupon code WOW22. That puts us at 36. Now, I have something else to mention. Jackson just made a Patreon pledge. Those count double today, which puts us at 38. And then I also want to say thanks over on Twitch to, let me see here, Bionic Bill, Robot Laser Party, Ristocrat, Permahex, Knights Over Egypt, Soul Knife, and Zero Cool have made Twitch Prime subscriptions, which puts us at 45, and I really appreciate that. Other super chats coming in. Mason says, let's riot towards the wood chipper people, then blame it on Antifa. January 6th wood chipper edition. It sounds like they're winding down with the wood chipper. Let me listen. It's still running, but it's not actively chipping right now. So let's hope that that's sort of the worst of it. Okay, let's go to, oh, I know. Gremlin is pointing out something. I'm not pronouncing WOW22. So the coupon code WOW22, you're actually supposed to pronounce it WOW22. WOW22. But, okay. All right, let's get to Donald Trump's responses. Donald Trump was so treasured, as some say, others say triggered, by Joe Biden's direct full frontal assault on him this morning, that he put out a series of increasingly deranged statements. One really funny aspect of this is that since he's banned from Twitter, he has this spokeswoman, Liz Harrington, who publishes them. she takes screenshots of these and publishes them, which is all pretty funny. But we're not going to look at them there. We're going to look at them on Trump's website. So let's go through these statements from it is essentially ban evasion. That's absolutely true. It is a ban evasion. Statement by Scrump. Due to inept leadership that gave us open borders, COVID incompetence, loss of energy independence, a military in chaos, rampant inflation, corrupt elections, and lack of world standing, our nation, perhaps for the first time, has lost its confidence. Now, we could take each of these things one by one and kind of debunk them. Border policy has not substantively changed since Trump left. COVID incompetence. I mean, listen, there's been global incompetence in the sense that this thing is completely out of control. Loss of energy independence. Nothing has substantively changed with energy in the U.S. The military is no more in chaos now than it was under Trump. Inflation is high. It has very little to do with presidents. Corrupt elections. No. And lack of world standing is the most weaponized. The U.S. reputation globally is better now than it was under Trump. Look at any poll, Gallup, Pew, any of them, and it'll show you that. That's number one. Second statement, Trump now talking about Biden more specifically. Biden, who is destroying our nation with insane policies of open borders. Look at how he capitalizes borders. Corrupt elections, capitalized E. Disastrous energy policy. This is like a rehash of the previous one. Unconstitutional mandates, devastating school closures, used my name today to try to further divide America. This political theater is all just a distraction for the fact Biden has completely and totally failed. Our capital C country no longer has capital B borders. It's true, borders closed. Since he's using a capital B, I can only assume he means that old book, like it's like a Barnes and Noble. That's what he means since it's capitalized, right? We don't have borders anymore. They closed. Okay, well, maybe he means something different. Has totally and completely lost control of COVID, is no longer energy independent. Like, look at these random caps. Inflation is rampant. Our military is in chaos. Our exit or surrender from Afghanistan was the most embarrassing day in the long and distinguished history of the U.S. Remember, Trump had no better plan for getting out. Would have been chaos no matter when we got out. Why is it that the Unselect Committee of totally partisan hacks whose judgment has long ago been made, not discussing the rigged presidential election of 2020? So, just another one of these triggered statements. Democrats want to own this day of January 6th so they can stoke fears and divide. I say let them have it, because America sees through their lies and polarizations. All right, statement number 3. Biden is working hard to try and deflect the incompetent job he is doing and has done on the horrible Afghanistan withdrawal surrender, the borders, COVID, inflation, loss of energy independence. It's the same statement, guys. He's basically, it's the same statement. Everything he touches turns to failure. That's what you get when you have a rigged election. It's just like a rehash of the same thing. And then fourthly, this huge one, to watch Biden speaking is very hurtful to many people. They're the ones who tried to stop the peaceful transfer with a rigged election. Just look at the numbers. Does anybody really think Biden beat Obama with the black population in select swing state cities, but nowhere else? That he would lose 18 out of 19 bellwether counties and 27 out of 27 toss-up House races, but miraculously receive the most votes in American history with no coattails? That he would lose Florida, Ohio, and Iowa and win, even though it has never been done before? It's funny. When Trump does things that have never been done before, it's a testament to how great Trump is. When Biden does things that have never been done before, it's obviously a fraud. It's all crazy. And he's just continuing to lie. Where did the votes show up in Georgia? All this different stuff. Capping it with never forget the crime of the 2020 presidential election. Never give up. Just a word salad. It's diarrhea of the mouth. Diarrhea of the text, I guess. I don't know. So those were Trump's reactions, and each more unhinged than the previous. Let's go back and see how the rally in support of the rioters is going in Florida while we get ready to move on to Gates and Green.
I want to tell you how you can support us and keep this network going, you guys. We are
like rest in peace, Ashley Babbitt. What?
How significant that is. We take small dollar donations. We don't take money from big billionaires and people that want to try to dictate what we say on air. We take money from you.
Wow, it's an insane situation there. Okay, other super chats coming in. In Virginia, we'd be thrilled to hear wood chopping. Thousands still without power due to fallen trees after snow. Thanks for always using logic and reason. My pleasure, Dexy. Appreciate that. Let me say a big thank you and welcome to Ryan Benson. Ryan just signed up on my website with the coupon code WOW22 and his new member number 46. Also, thanks to John for the $5 Patreon pledge. Patreon counts double today. So, John, you were number 47 and 48. And over on Twitch, I want to say thank you to... Actually, no, nobody on Twitch. Nobody on Twitch. But welcome. Welcome to everybody who's watching. Okay, let's move. Oh, by the way, yeah, I've been told that I don't mention one of the best benefits of being a member on my website, which is you get the whole show 6 hours early or like 5 hours early. Instead of having to wait for these individual clips to publish to YouTube or waiting for the 9 p.m. full show to publish, usually between 2:30 and 3 p.m. Eastern, you've got the entire show. I've been told that's like the biggest benefit. There's a Reddit post about it. I mean, if that's what the people say, then by all means, that's what it is. And you can sign up at joinpacman.com. Before we move on, I want to remind you guys that on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, we will have the first chess tournament of 2022. This is a free community event. I'm selling nothing here other than a good time. If you want to pre-register, go to davidpacman.com/chess. It'll take you to our chess.com chess group. Just become part of the club. And then Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, you'll be able to join the tournament. This is totally free. You'll be matched with people of your level. We've got some great people who are going to be playing. I will be playing. Grandmaster Benjamin Feingold will be playing. Women's FIDE Master Anna Kramling will be playing. International Master Eric Rosen will be playing. And I have invites out to a bunch of other people, including Levi Rosman, and I invited Anna Rudolph, and we'll see who else is able to play. So it's just a community event. I'm not selling you guys anything. It's just going to be fun. Is vegan producer Pat going to play? Maybe. davidpacman.com/chess will take you here. Just join the club. This is all free. It's all free. And the tournament will start. It'll only run about 75 to 90 minutes. You can play part of it. You can play all of it. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be streaming Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. davidpacman.com/chess. Very, very exciting stuff. I'm being told this woman's nuts. Let's listen.
Just speaking it out, and I don't think he really understands what's happening.
Absolutely. And it's so funny, Kamala Harris about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Do you think they deliberately mispronounced Kamala at this point?
There's a lot of horns on it.
Oh, I did invite the Botez sisters. They're unavailable on that day.
Got asked, who's really in control? Because it doesn't seem like it's Biden.
Exactly.
And you know what she told him? She said, don't start acting like a Republican. Because he was questioning. He had a legit question.
I watched that. She heard the whole conversation because he's...
Hey, this isn't Amy Schumer, is it? That's not who this is, right? Is there a resemblance here? I'm not super familiar with Amy Schumer, but I have a feeling that there's a resemblance here.
Are trying to really give... What station was that? With the interview they had with Kamala Harris?
Kamala.
That was...
So she says Kamala. This guy says Kamala. They're both wrong.
I have a conversation with her, but the woman...
These people.
Is a narcissist, sorry. And she wanted to make sure people knew who she...
The interviewer is thinking of heading for the hills. I think he's regretting engaging here.
President. The election was absolutely fraudulent and stolen.
And the reason why I bring that up, that Kamala Harris interview on the Breakfast Club, the reason why it's so significant is because he's not a conservative, he's not a Republican, but he represents a lot of people who voted for Biden. Absolutely. And they noticed what he noticed. And that's like, he doesn't look like...
He rocked when he did.
It's the blind leading the blind here. It's the blind leading the blind. It's truly shocking. I want to say thanks to Jacob Vio, who just signed up with the coupon code WOW22 and his new member number 49 today. Also, thank you to Hammerwerfer, B. Kimberly, Upstate Trash, Pepper Love, Legally Blacked, all of whom has signed up on Twitch, putting us at 54. It is getting very, very edgy here. All right, let's go now to, we're still keeping an eye on the White House, things looking calm in Washington, D.C. Let's go over to, we already did the Biden stuff. Here is, if you can imagine it, here is the Republican response. Oh no, the wood chipper's getting going again. Here is the Republican response to Joe Biden's speech today. They're wood chipping again. Let's listen.
Expose the truth, to ask key questions about what happened on January 6th, who animated the violence, the extent to which the federal government may have been involved. We know this. January 6th last year wasn't an insurrection. No one has been charged with insurrection. No one has been charged with treason. But it very well may have been a Fedsurrection. We are very concerned that we have sent letter after letter to Attorney General Garland and
you guys don't write. That's not believable, Matt. That's not believable.
FBI Director Wray to simply get to the bottom of unexplained circumstances where people are on the FBI most wanted list from January 6th, and then they fall off of that list. FBI Director Wray was asked under oath before the Congress about the federal assets and agents that were on the ground on January 6th, and he wouldn't provide clear answers. Attorney General Garland was asked in the Judiciary Committee by my colleague Thomas Massey about Ray Epps. He could have cleared up that circumstance and resolved these questions.
Imagine this being the response to what Biden said.
But he declined to do so. It seems that senior officials in our Justice Department have no problem giving long speeches to try to politically target and smear those they disagree with, but they don't answer the questions that can get to the truth of what really happened on January 6th. I want to credit the reporting at Revolver News for having aggregated a number
Now that's funny. That's really funny.
of the videos that I'm going to go through now that I think continue.
Remember, Revolver News is, do you guys remember that completely unhinged day where Tucker Carlson said that the FBI did the Trump riots? He quoted a Revolver News article which doesn't cite anything about the FBI involvement.
These very deep concerns that Congresswoman Green and I have, and I would ask you to play the first clip.
They have clips.
We need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol.
I think they're saying that that guy's really an FBI agent, right? Is that what they're saying? Now, aren't FBI agents forced to retire at age 55? Like, doesn't this guy look a little older than 55? I don't know.
The powers of the federal government to understand why Ray Epps, the evening of the 5th, is out telling people dispassionately, professionally, with laser focus that the objective is to enter the United States Capitol.
Hope it's not a Jewish space laser.
On the 6th, it's not the Proud Boys who engage in the initial breach. It's Ray Epps at that precise moment. Now, Ray Epps was originally on the FBI's list of most wanted individuals after the initial events on January 6th. But then the day after, Revolver News publishes an explosive report about Stuart Rhodes, who's involved with the Oath Keepers, then all of a sudden Ray Epps' name falls off the list. We've sent letters asking questions about that unexplainable circumstance, and the FBI and the Justice Department have given us no illuminating
This is really a game changer, huh? All right, let's get to the Marjorie Greene Taylor part of it and see what's up with her.
Unheard, and we did not want today's historical narrative to be hijacked and captured by those who were the true insurrectionists. Congresswoman Greene?
Thank you very much.
Why is Greene's physical appearance so revolting? Like, I know that it's sort of outside the bounds of political discourse, but what is it? It's just, it's revolting.
And I think that's an incredible point that Congressman Gates just made. It's very important for the Republican voice to go to be heard today, because it's the Republican voice and the Republican voter and the Trump supporter that has been smeared constantly over this past year.
Yeah.
I want you all to know that on January
The real victims are the Trump supporters. Yeah.
6, I was very upset with what happened that day, and it was because it completely interrupted the work that we had worked very hard on all throughout Christmas.
You know that this is a new thing. Peter Navarro said this in the Ari Melber interview, which was the riot got in the way of us stealing the election. Were it not for the riot, maybe Mike Pence would have seated other electors, or it disrupted the coup. Exactly.
Preparing for January 6th to object on behalf of Americans that felt their votes had been stolen. And I think it's important to recognize that our own Federal Election Commission has
the facts don't care about your feelings, people. Felt that the election had been stolen. Wow, pretty convincing.
Error rate by law that is 0.0008%. And it's important to point out that elections are very serious and they're taken that way by all Americans. Don't forget that Bernie Sanders felt that his election was stolen by Hillary Clinton. Don't forget that.
That's extraordinarily deceptive, because what Bernie has said about Hillary is not that the election was fraudulent in this way, right? I mean, Bernie, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Bernie said he felt as though the entire primary was structured to be beneficial to Hillary Clinton back in 2016. There's no equivalency whatsoever between these two things.
Hillary Clinton forgot that her election
Clinton
was stolen. And I'll tell you, being from Georgia, Stacey Abrams still thinks she won in 2018, and she's running again. But here's some things that we do need to discuss.
Yeah.
You know, I'm one of those people, and I'm not shy to tell you, I don't trust our government. And that's another reason why I ran for Congress, is because I felt like it's our government that is screwing everything up for the American people. But after what we've seen on January 6th and the videos that Congressman Gates just walked through, I can tell you right now, I don't trust our government even more.
Wow.
When I went through the DC jail, I'll tell you who I did not see. I did not see Ray Epps. I didn't see him in there wasting away for months on end.
Remember, guys, the charged Trumpists are the victims here. That's their position. And when we see what's going on in Florida right now, this is all in support of the rioters. Okay.
Denied his due process rights, being denied the ability to see his family, to get medical treatment, to get a haircut and shave. I didn't see him in there. You know who else I didn't see? I didn't see a man named John Sullivan, a man that has participated in Antifa, BLM, riots, and the whole entire movement, but then all of a sudden decided to be a Trump supporter on January 6th.
Right.
The same guy that was in the Capitol and filmed Ashley Babbitt's murder and then sold his videos to media outlets.
Oof, that's a lot. That's heavy.
Not in the D.C. jail under Deputy Warden Kathleen Landerkin. So I think we have a lot of questions to ask, and the people that should be answering the questions is our FBI. And
imagine taking this seriously as a reporter, and you show up. You're like, okay, I'm gonna seriously listen to what she says, and we're gonna follow up on these things. How do you even fact check the things that she's saying? They're completely off the wall, unhinged.
Department of Justice. I want to point some things out to you all.
Yeah.
With the U.S. Capitol riot, there is over 725 arrests that I know of.
Yes.
And only one case has been dropped. For BLM Antifa riots, there were over 16,240 arrests, and over 90% of those cases have been dropped.
So you have to understand, the reason it's so hard to fact check this stuff on the go is, okay, she says 16,000 people were arrested and a ton of the cases were dropped, and nobody's been dropped with this stuff. What you have to understand is there were thousands of people on January 6th in D.C., and most of them were never even charged. Now, with the BLM Antifa George Floyd stuff, there's no doubt that there were a bunch of different arrests for different things, but a lot of those were mass arrests of a bunch of people at the time for being in a place they weren't supposed to be. It's like the way Jane Fonda gets arrested. I'm not denying there was destruction of property. there was. Those people are being handled in a different way. But what happened at a lot of those protests is a bunch of people were given one of these situations where like it's some kind of minor trespass or whatever, and then you're let go. It's not even necessarily that charges are dropped. Often they're like never even filed, and she's wrapping that up. Here, people who were identified as having committed specific crimes, not just being in the area and maybe staying and crossing a police line, people who were in there, people who were doing stuff, it's a completely different situation. So the first question is, are her numbers even right in any way? And then it's, what are we really comparing here anyway?
What's the difference there, everyone?
Well, I just explained it to you.
I'll tell you. For the BLM, Antifa riots and violence, the victims were the American people and communities and cities all across our country.
Oh, this is pathetic.
But on January 6th, you know who the victim was? It was the Capitol and the members of Congress inside.
Members.
My question is this. Why is this Congress obsessed with itself and cares nothing about the American people? This is a two-tiered justice system that should never exist in our country.
It is a two-tier justice system. It's just not the two tiers she thinks.
And I'm fed up with it, and so are Americans all over the country. Now,
all right, let's skip ahead a little bit, I guess, to when she took questions, just to see kind of what's up with that. Look at this.
Our plan is to be here with you. Our plan earlier today was to travel out to the original breach site and the places where some of these videos were captured, but we do not have plans this evening for that. Yes, ma'am.
I can't hear a word they're saying.
That's why there's so much focus on this attack. So what about the 140 police officers that were injured? Can you tell me a little bit about your reactions when you saw the footage of the police officers being assaulted, and if you have any words for them today, a year after?
Yeah, I'll say the same thing I've said all year long. I'll say the same thing I said starting that day. It was appalling. And I want to know why the National Guard was not outside the Capitol. I am furious at that. And I want you to know that members of Congress...
Well, I mean, ask Trump.
And definitely the Speaker of the House, she knew that there was going to be violence that day. President Trump requested...
Oh, now she admits there was violence. Okay, all right.
The National Guard, so did others. They knew things were going to happen, but for some reason they thought that optics would look bad if they had the National Guard there. Yes, as a freshman member of Congress, only a few days on the job, yeah, I'm angry the National Guard wasn't out there, and they left the Capitol Police as sitting ducks to have to deal with all of this.
And I would add to that, what if those Capitol Police officers are victims of people like Ray Epps?
Absolutely.
What if they're victims of an orchestrated effort by the FBI or other federal law enforcement to increase the criminal acuity of that day? So I would suggest that every officer that was harmed that day would likely be served well by answering these questions that Attorney General Garland and Director Wray refused to answer. Yeah, I'll go ahead and ask your question.
Senator Ted Cruz said yesterday that January 6th was a terrorist attack. Do you agree with him?
Absolutely not. I think Senator Cruz is smart enough to know, since he's an attorney, that no one's been charged with terrorism, just like no one has been charged with insurrection. I think that was very irresponsible of him to call them terrorists, and I completely disagree.
And the establishment will never love you, Ted. You know, you can bend over at bended knee for them.
Oh my God!
They're just not going to love you. I think that was maybe an effort by the good senator, who we agree with on many things, to recast himself in the eyes of some of the folks in your profession. But
dear God,
we didn't find it particularly factual or sincere. John.
Yes. What I heard Senator Cruz say was that he said the Democratic Party wants all Republicans to be seen as terrorists. That's what I heard when I spoke to him. But I wanted to ask you about the Attorney General. He had a press conference in which said the Justice Department remains committed to holding all January 6th perpetrators at any level accountable.
By the way, here's a good comment via Super Chat. All those people, do they truly believe what they are spewing? Logic, facts, and the truth are dead. Yeah, I think there's a mix. I think there are some people who say this stuff because they do believe it, and I think there are people who say this stuff because they see it as what you're supposed to say to show that you're on the team.
Whether they were present that day or otherwise criminally responsible for the assault on our democracy, we will follow the facts wherever they lead. What do you make of that press conference? The Attorney General speaking out the day before.
Being asked about Merrick Garland.
It was very frustrating for me as a member of the Judiciary Committee because the Attorney General wouldn't answer Congressman Thomas Massey's direct question about where the facts and the law led. we're worried that this might not be a crime so much as it is a cover-up in some circumstances.
Getting extremely conspiratorial. Hey, chat, who's Ray Epps? Ray Epps is a guy that some people like Matt Gaetz say was an FBI operative creating the Trump riots. Gaetz mentions victims. What about Matt Gaetz victims? Those are alleged victims, Hillary, alleged victims. I want to say thanks to NRZ Luna, the Hoosier Daddy, and Ms. Frazzled for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. Also want to say a huge thank you to Mary Graham, who just signed up on my website with the coupon code OBAMNA. And Douglas Lane, who just signed up on my website with the coupon code WOW22. Numbers 58 and 59 today. Very much appreciate it. All right, we're not going to watch the whole thing. Let's skip ahead a little bit and see what else they're up to.
On January 6th is the only thing that just reigns the discussion. Here's something for you all. What if the FBI was involved? What if Ray Epps and what he was doing and this man that was on the scaffolding and John Sullivan and other bad actors like them, what if that caused a member of the press to get killed? What would you all be saying about that? So what kind of responsibility would you be placing on the FBI or any kind of other federal agency if a member of the press had been killed that day because of violence that they had caused to action? I mean, I think this is a serious question. You all work here every single day, just like we do. You walk these halls. This is the place where you gather information and do your job. So your safety was also at risk that day too. And if our federal government was involved in doing so, I think that's something that you should be very upset about.
Man, she is poisonous, huh?
I believe that the man who just got 5 years for throwing a fire extinguisher at a police officer was an undercover federal agent.
I'm sorry.
We're not familiar with that particular case.
Well, it's one of the cases that's just been settled. 5 years for throwing a fire extinguisher.
For throwing a fire extinguisher?
Yeah, we're not here to litigate any particular case.
Yes.
We're no one's lawyer. We're no one's advocate. We're here to speak to the conditions that existed on that day, to the civil rights of people who have been deprived access to medical care, religious services. But we're not going to get into the facts of any one particular defendant. We have brought video evidence to display to you in the world, and we think that those are the
just because you have a video doesn't mean it's evidence of anything in particular.
Specific cases that would probably warrant the most thorough review.
Yes.
Well, right.
Yes,
that's what I'm showing you. But you're here talking about a case that we weren't
unfamiliar
involved
with
in
it.
adjudicating.
Yes.
If Republicans take back the House, what kind of investigations might you launch involving this or any other sort of related issues?
Well, we're going to encourage Republican leadership to utilize the January 6th committee correctly to answer the questions.
Oh, give me a break. All right. So he's pathetic. So this was their response. This is what they did. Let's now go back over to the rally in support of the Trump rioters. This is how many Trumpists in Florida are commemorating 1 year since the riots by supporting the rioters.
Exactly.
Yes. Hey, what's your name?
Mike.
Mike.
With Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're live right now on
Very
YouTube.
cool.
We're on our
I am
Right Side
so
Broadcasting
happy to
app.
see
We're
a
on.
young man know what's going on. That's just wonderful.
Well, I just use my eyes and ears and I pay attention.
Just a smart young man.
People tell me what's happening. I interpret it for myself because I'm smart enough to do that. I can use my God-given brain.
Yes, amen.
As we all should be doing. But yeah, thank you so much for talking to us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I've learned about Telegram now.
Oh, no.
You can get on Telegram and it's not censored.
Oh, my God.
You can get on there and watch Steve Bannon in the War Room. And
Look
you
at this.
can watch Donald Trump and his son.
She's saying this Telegram is how the disinformation is spreading. This is amazing.
We're grateful for Telegram. as well.
Wow.
Find Right Side Broadcasting on there.
Okay, Right Side Broadcasting.
Shameless plug for you viewers out there. Make sure that you download the RSBN app. Where
Can
you
you imagine?
live coverage of this event, any Trump rally, past, present, or future. Everything else, articles. We have amazing writers on our website. You can find that all through the app. But we're also on Telegram as well. And Getter, follow us. Right Side Broadcasting. Thank you so much.
RSBN.com, all right?
Wow, there's this whole subculture. It's very, very interesting and scary.
If you just Google RSBN, that'll bring it up too, yeah? All right, thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
Wow.
Well, I removed my sunglasses. I think we're getting close to sunset. I think it sets around 5:30. And
all right, so we'll check back in on that and see what's going on now. It's all very, very disturbing for sure. Thanks to Robert. Robert saying via Super Chat, Happy New Year. Love you, my brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody who's here. Upcoming things that we know are going on. Tuesday, January 11th, 6 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing the first of 2022 David Pakman Show chess tournament. You can pre-register by joining our chess club. This is free at davidpakman.com/chess. Here it is. Saturday, January 15th, we will be streaming this lunatic right-wing rally from Arizona. Among many of the speakers is Donald Trump, but also I believe, I think Michael Flynn is expected to speak, maybe Mike Pillow, I'm not really sure. So those are two streams that are certainly upcoming, but there will be others. Richard says, can we get producer Pat a Getter account? Yeah, Getter's pretty weaponized. Thanks to Ryan Schenk. Ryan just signed up on my website, joinpakman.com, using the coupon code OBAMNA. And his new member number 60. I invite you to sign up. Guys, listen. What we do is mostly funded by you. So if this is your first time here or your 10th time or your 100th time, I would love for you to sign up on our website, joinpakman.com. Every day you get the show 6 hours earlier than everybody else. There's nothing better than other people getting screwed. That's a joke. This is a left-wing show, not a right-wing show. But in all seriousness, you get the bonus show, you get the show early, commercial-free, all these different things. And you can use the coupon code OBAMNA or the coupon code WOW22. Both work, and we appreciate everybody using both of those.
hardcore, staunch patriots or not, people that like what they have, they like their freedom, they want to be in charge of their own lives, stand up and take their country back. The true minority in this country are the politicians, the people who are running the country. The elites in their ivory towers, not following COVID protocols.
He's attacking people in the ivory towers. Trump owns a dozen ivory towers.
It feels like we're at an actual Trump rally, just with the soundtrack, just with the music. You got Gloria playing right now. Our CEO, Joe Seals, that's his personal favorite song. He's watching right now. He might be dancing in the studio.
Oh my God.
But it's, speaking of rallies, make sure you're tuned in next Saturday as Trump will be holding his first rally.
Yeah. Gary says, what happened to Gates being investigated for sex trafficking underage girls? How does he still have a platform? We're still waiting to see what ultimately is going to happen with the charges against Matt Gaetz. I don't have an answer for you. We just don't know. We don't know. Things still calm as the sun is setting in Washington, D.C. It looks very likely that we're going to be getting through today without violence in Washington, D.C., which is a really, really great thing. We're glad about that. Of course, we are very, very much glad about that. And that was our hope all along. But no current word on what to expect as far as charges against Matt Gaetz go. They were for a long time expected to be any day. And it's been a while. And you know how it is with a lot of these guys. There are not consequences. The consequences just never happen.
When Trump endorsed him, that took him through the roof as far as support, put him on the radar of a lot of voters who were undecided, and the rest was history. I mean, look at the work that he's done in 4 years. So we have to reelect him, and Trump will be a big part of that. And the same could be said for other governors and other politicians, congressmen, senators across the United States. So elections this year.
It is interesting. You're starting to see a lot of Trump 2024 flags with the slogan "Take America Back," as opposed to refreshing "Make America Great Again" or "Make America Great Again Again." They're going with "Take America Back." Super chat from Johnny Minogue. Gloria used to be one of my go-to drag lip sync songs. Guess I have to take it out of my repertoire. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know how many musical decisions need to be made on this basis necessarily, but it's certainly something to consider.
In this street corner here in West Palm Beach, Florida, where President Trump drives back to Mar-a-Lago plenty of times, and people are lined up to get a glimpse of him as he may drive by for a second time today.
He may drive by.
You got lots of media coming.
So good, so good.
Oh, that's child abuse.
Oh, you love to see it. So much enthusiasm. It's really easy to feed off of that
was
energy.
a little better.
Energy
but
where
I think
people
you
are
do a lot
very,
better.
people are, with all the turmoil and all the.
Yeah, these are very, very sick people wanting a glimpse of their dear leader. J-Dead says, imagine being against elites, but voting for a guy who announced his campaign saying, I'm really rich. I know. Trust me. I know the absurdity of it. It is completely nuts. Completely and totally nuts. It's not, it belies credulity. Was there a Soros sign?
You're smiling.
Oh, you should interview her.
We are live right now.
She's the committee leader.
Where?
They're live right now.
We're live right now, yes. Where are you from?
We're from New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what brings you down here to this street?
Lady, he meant, where are you really from?
Actually, we are going to move here, so we bought a house here. Yeah.
Nice. What made you decide to leave New Jersey for Florida? I have to know.
This is it's a freedom. It's a red state. New Jersey is too much blue. And there's so many Democrats, those kind of crap. And here, I feel a lot of freedom here. I can choose to live the way that I want.
Yeah. And it's cheap.
What couldn't you see? If I were this guy, if I was competent, I would be saying, what couldn't you do in New Jersey that you can do here? That's the most interesting possible question based on what she said, and then see what she says.
It's turned red. Remember the November election?
Yeah, but there's some. If the election flawed, the system, if the problem hasn't been solved, I think Democrat will use the rigged system just to steal the election.
This is painful. It is. It's like all these people with a glancing understanding of even what the bad talking points are.
Of the county during that election night, and it's all flipped the result. So we don't know why. And also a lot of my friends from New Jersey, they are facing losing their job because they don't want to take a jab.
Oh my God.
And they apply for the religious freedom, religious exemption, but it didn't get approved.
Dear God.
So now they've been laid off. And
So
the
sad.
school also forced the kids to take the vaccine. And we are not against the vaccine itself. We are against the mandate.
Right.
If you give up one step, they're going to come over to you for another step.
It's funny because even that, where it's like they're being laid off because they're required to be vaccinated. They're not against the vaccine. They're only against the requirement. Fine. But if they've been vaccinated, they wouldn't be getting laid off. So it's like it's an incoherent talking point.
We're against vaccines at all. They're against mandates.
Yeah, we're against mandate.
But if you're against even the
But they were laid off not for being against the mandate. They were laid off for not having the vaccine.
against the vaccine or mandates, you're against vaccines altogether, and you're an anti-vaxxer. If you wave the American flag and you were in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, you're an insurrectionist, you're a domestic terrorist.
How can we say domestic terrorism? We have no arm. We are doing the protest peacefully.
Right.
Right. And all these.
Lily says via Super Chat, I watched the insurrection with you a year ago. I appreciate your coverage as always. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Also want to say a big thank you to Lee Somebody, who just signed up on my website with the coupon code OBAMNA. And his new member number 61. I am riveted by this interview, I have to tell you.
And it's always a complete inversion, isn't it? Because they're pretending to care about the people, the Capitol Police officers who died after January 6th, but we know that they're just standing on their graves because it helps them serve a purpose. But they said nothing about the 25 people who died, lost their lives during the George Floyd riots of 2020.
Yeah.
Like, nobody in America can deny that happened, and yet politicians and the media, they say nothing about it.
And they enforce that you can steal anything that is under $950 and with no crime, no criminal. But
What?
if you are raising American flag, they call you betrayer. What is that definition is? If the betrayer is that you love American flag, then I don't mind. You just have to change the definition all over.
Pretty interesting talking point.
Absolutely. Well, I hope you enjoy your time in Florida. I think you're going to love it quite a bit more than New Jersey.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this is a dream state. Yeah.
It is. I've been here for 5 years now.
These interviews are fascinating.
Weather, best beaches, best governor.
Oh my God.
You gotta love
and
it.
we got to keep like this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. God bless.
Yeah, don't let any foreigners get into Florida. We got to keep it like this, she says.
We've got quite a few people out here. We've interviewed several people, and to my surprise, not many people want to talk about what happened on January 6th.
That's not surprising at all. That's not surprising at all. Car Wash Freak says 2022, we need to take these Republicans seriously. The threat of our democracy is real. Let's put idealism for a moment. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, but I think I get the gist of it, and I agree with it completely. I agree with it absolutely 100%. I want to say thanks to... Oh, no, I don't have any other Twitch people to thank. Well, that's okay.
The White House coming from Congress, they're tired of the policies that have destroyed everyone's lives. You know, we had a Biden voter riding by multiple times, and from the flag waves I've been to here in Florida, I've been to quite a few, you would have Biden voters driving by saying,
all right, we're going to wait until there's another interview, but there are a bunch of super chats. JF says, sir, given your recent praise of mandarins, I would like to bring to your attention the annual Mountain Mandarin Festival held in Northern California. That sounds like a raucous event. Les Pearson says, 1 year ago, I mentioned the UK looked on in horror. Nothing has changed, bro. Luckily, it's only half a block. Half a block? I don't know what that means. Oh, this protest is only half a block, I guess is what you mean? Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. We do, I mean, we have a different president now for sure. That's certainly a difference. Oh, people asking how my finger is doing. Yeah, I cut off the tip of my finger on Sunday night. It's doing a lot better. It's doing a lot better, but it was a very clean cut. I mean, what I realized is I don't need knives that are that sharp for cooking. So I'm now going to be using a less sharp knife. It was pretty ugly. It was pretty ugly. But I'm doing okay. A little bit of the nail too. It's not a good. I recommend not doing it. Welcome to Mike Cloutier, who just signed up on my website with the coupon code WOW22. I really appreciate that very much. Let's see if we can get one more interview in here.
but yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a mega crowd out here. Absolutely love it out here. How you doing? Lots of good people out here. Yes. Good people out here. Good people out here.
Well. Isn't Axl Rose a completely anti-Trump left-winger who would be disgusted that Guns N' Roses songs are playing here? I mean, it's beyond parody, quite frankly. Thanks to Mark for the 20 Australian dollar super chat. Very much appreciate that. And a few other people sending elements of support. Let's see who else they're going to chat with here.
That's one of many ways to support us. We always tell you about our website, of course, rspnetwork.com/donate, and of course our physical address where you can mail checks and cash donations, etc. But our merch, we have hats, t-shirts, backpacks, I believe we still have battery chargers. We have a bunch of different things on there. Go check out RSP Network.
Battery chargers, that's something I should be looking at. Trump's tweets. What's that shirt? Trump won. Wow, that woman is delusional. Very, very sick.
Plug. The physical address is 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama 36830.
These folks are the picture of health. If they got COVID, I'm sure they'd be fine. It would be great if he interviews the woman in the mask and gloves about why she's wearing that. I would love that.
There are people back behind this line of crowds here. There's a line of people back behind the vehicles on the other side here. Again, it's not a ton of people just because of this being a parking lot.
It's not a ton of people because it's completely idiotic to be here supporting the rioters.
Down the street. So you do have quite a few people out here. It's good to get a little bit of break from the traffic and stuff. The traffic and the music.
Oh, please talk to this guy.
Yeah, love it. Good crowd out here. Good crowd. You know, I want my country back. I'm getting tired of this. I'm so fed up. You know, I talk about these things on my YouTube channel.
Okay. All right, guys. That's going to do it. So we got through the day. I believe now that the sun has set in Washington, D.C., we got through the day without violence on the 1-year anniversary of January 6th. We watched Biden's speech. We watched Trump's triggered reaction. We read it. We watched the Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz response. It was completely off topic. And we seem to have gotten through the day. But before we go, I want to say a huge thank you to Dustin Brash, who just sent, I believe this is what we call the big boy. I don't think you can send a bigger than $500 super chat. We've never seen it before. Dustin says in all caps with a $500 super chat, "Hello, everyone. Please stop and wake up. I don't think any of this is pleasant for anyone anymore. At some point, someone has to wake up and stop all of this insanity before it drives everyone past the point of no return. Please just stop and listen and try to understand each other." Dustin with a very expensive and very powerful message of peace, love, unity, and bipartisanship sent in what could not possibly be bigger capital letters. Dustin, we appreciate you and really am thrilled for your support. I also want to say thanks to Tracy Sutton, who just signed up on my website with the coupon code OBAMNA. And that is going to do it for today's stream. Oh, sorry. And thanks to Shanna Makes for the Twitch Prime subscription as well. Thanks, everybody. The programming will continue. We have clips. We have all of it. The podcast is out. It's all happening. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you very, very soon.